all of my success, a huge degree of that is because I'm a product of mentorship. The people running those, they all got to the position they're in because they've been doing the same thing. Welcome to Gym Owner Freedom. I am Scott Carpenter, and I am a former broke, struggling, frustrated, and overworked gym owner that felt stuck no matter what I did to try and improve the business. Once I realized that the answer wasn't what I thought it was, just getting more clients, and after really doing the math on acquisition and churn rates, I realized I wasn't even playing a winnable game to begin with. With my current price structure, mathematically, there was no way I could afford to pay my staff so I could scale up and out of the business, that I could have the time, the money, the impact, and the freedom that I always knew I was capable of. Once I learned how to add value by selling transformational programs to people who needed more than just workouts, everything changed in my life. Today, I own 6 gyms that all run without me, and I am free to pursue my passion projects and work just because I love to, not because I have to. And if that's a goal that we mutually share together, then this is the show for you. I'm going to teach you the framework to make way more money with less clients and open up a world of possibilities to you. Subscribe, leave a review, and tune in every week. It'll change your life. I promise you that. All right, excited to be here on today's show. It's pretty cool. We have the orange beard of wisdom, Mr. Josh Price himself, a super long time gym business mentor. He's owned a gym. He also owned, you might know him through as partner in VAs for Gyms, which he recently sold not too long ago as well. He's been involved in a lot of different things, a lot of different projects. He's been in the gym space for a very long time. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Anytime that I can spread, the orange bushiness of wisdom around, it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And we have a really special announcement with it too, because you've been a gym owner since, well, I'll get to the announcement in a minute, but how long have you been a gym owner for? I can't remember. When did you start?
So we had been in business. I think we were coming up on our 10th year when I shut us down this past summer. Yeah. 10 years. And then you have been a mentor in the space for like a good 6 or so, I believe. A good 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you help shape like gym mentoring as well. You're like one of the first people really helping shape that whole thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. I brought in, so there's a lot of different companies doing it and everything, Gym Launch and Stuart Brower kind of doing his thing as a one-on-one. And I was with Two Brain business. And what I really brought into that business was probably more military organizations. I was in the military for 13 years, infantry guy. So I started bringing in a lot more I don't exactly, leadership, I'll just say leadership, right? And leadership values, but also just how to organize your structure a little bit better, going from roles and tasks, which we all need and everything, but into how does that look as an organizational chart and flow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's really needed, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to whether that gym owner takes action on what they need to be taking action on, which is trickier. And we were just having this conversation the other week. We, like at PT Legends, we've been modifying things to make it easier and easier and easier and easier for gym owners to implement. Like, so it's literally, we have so much done for you stuff. It takes a lot of time to build it like that and all that. But at the end of the day, people are way more likely to do it when they can just copy and paste. So we've made a lot of our stuff like just as effortless as possible, because it's frustrating. We're like, if you just do this, you will make $10,000 more this month.
Yeah.
Will you please just do this?
Yeah.
And so you have to bring a lot of these systems into play so it gets done more often than not. And we were talking about this metaphor when we were saying, we're talking about this, and like, it's frustrating because like, oh my God, you can do, like, you just got to do it. So we're designing everything purposely so gym owners can just do it with ease. But, we talked about this metaphor. Remember that? It's just like, as a gym owner, you get really frustrated with the person who wants to lose 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Because you spend all this time building out what they need to do. And it's like, it's so simple. They just need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's all. But what happens a week later when they come in? Oh, did you do that? No.
Yeah.
No. And it's just like, shit, if you want to lose 30 pounds, you just got to do this. It's I boiled it down to the simplest things. You just got to do it. And they haven't done it.
Yeah.
And so that metaphor is good to keep in mind for you gym owners listening. It's where are you being the fat client in this relationship? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
with your own stuff, it's like, I know I should be doing it. I just didn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I heard Todd Herman. I went to New York one time and heard him speak, and he talked about how you start in the forest of frustration, right? And then you work your way to the mountain of clarity. And what you do getting to the mountain of clarity is basically shedding off everything that isn't applicable to you and doesn't help you. And to me, that's what you guys have done. It's one of the biggest reasons why when you guys asked if I'd work for you, as you know, I had multiple offers. I had 3 offers, and it was like, who am I going to go work for? And one of the biggest reasons I picked you guys is because y'all shed a lot of the stuff. Yeah, a volume model might work for people. A mid-range class group model might work for some people. But I loved how you guys were getting into the business of teaching gym owners how to find solutions, how to go beyond, workouts, counting reps, nutrition, all of that stuff that is absolutely needed, and it's all part of the program. But how do we dig deeper into, the person who says, I want to lose 30 pounds, but what they really mean is, I want my relationship better with my husband. Mm-hmm. The person who says, man, I got a backache, but what they really mean is, I want to get into the floor with my grandkid and play. And I have my own personal story with that, as some of the listeners might know that my daughter is disabled, and she requires 24/7 care. And for the first time in my life, it stripped me back to not trying to be competitive anymore and just working out, because every day I have to pick her up multiple times a day to move her from position to position. And all of a sudden it was pretty easy to get in and do my workouts. Yeah.
Your life changed in an instant. Yep. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, that's a lot of challenge that you've been through, going through actively every day. Yeah. And that's tough. And I'm sure you're learning a lot. And I got to give credit to you. Like, I mean, it's tough for those of you who don't really know the extent of everything and how many nights and days in hospitals.
Yeah.
And the situation you're in, but it's really difficult. And it would break almost anybody down.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we just spent 70 days in the hospital. We got out. It's been about a month now and everything. But yeah, it was really, really rough. And another reason I picked PT Legends is you guys actually continue to reach out to me in the hospital, making those inroads. And it just meant so much to me. It was like, it's a lot easier, which is also a lesson to you gym owners. Actually care and follow up, same thing, care and follow up with all those people, because they're all people. They all have stories too. Every single one of those leads, they all have stories too. And the moment that they make the decision, if you're the person who's cared and followed up, they're going to join you.
Yeah, that's so true. And this is, some of the gyms that we work with are just focused on more clients. Well, it's really hard to care for 500 clients. And in many locations, you just don't have the population density or lack of competition to draw them in. Right. I mean, there are unicorn locations.
Yeah.
That will do 300, 400, 800 members. Absolutely. But not every location, most locations are not capable of that.
Right.
And your business model really needs to account for that, because it's different post-pandemic after COVID. Yeah. The churn is higher. Acquisition is harder. Leads are still cheap, but at the end of the day, most, you can have 50% of them who will never respond to a message, even 5 minutes after you send it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody, when they left these gyms, maybe because it was forced because of lockdown, or maybe personal decisions because of family members at home or whatever reason, you know, I think as they're coming back or they're looking for something, they just went through something brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who's going through something brutal, I can tell you those values change. You're not just looking for, a workout anymore. You're not just looking for, this place. You're like, if anything, you probably want results quicker, right? Because you want to get out of the gym. Maybe that was your place to go to get away, but now you have the time and now you really enjoy hiking or you really enjoy these other things. So you're like, man, I want to get into the gym. I want to get my workout so that it allows me to do more with my life, because we all just got woke up by a pandemic that like everything could lock down. So we better get the shit done that we want to get done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot has changed, right? You saw all the people that quit their jobs and this and that. We're looking for something more. We're looking for something more than a job. We want to find purpose. We want to, a lot of it is self-discovery. We become a lot more self-aware of where we're at and our flaws and this and that. And I think people are looking to just live better lives, which is a good shift.
Yes. That's a right? Amazing shift. Yes.
It's an amazing shift. I think there's so much introspection in there. And then we're just talking about this too. There's a little bit of a loss of innocence.
Yeah.
With COVID, right?
Yeah.
Because, at first you're like, okay, team vax and mask, or I don't know about that. And then all the polarization that happened everywhere.
Yeah.
And even though there hasn't been a whole lot of, hey, they weren't really telling the truth on this, or we made a lot of mistakes, or we just said that because we wanted compliance, even though that's not blatantly talked about in the media, because no politicians in the media who perpetuated it or whatever, they don't want to reveal this. And the fact that they're all sponsored by, all the vaccine. Nobody's really blatantly talking about it, but we all kind of innately know that we were lied to by politicians over and over and over, by, our drug companies over and over and over. They coerced, everybody just go along with it. They shot down any dissenting opinions. You get booted off of Twitter, all this crazy shit. And it's like, you look at it, I don't care, where you stand in the whole thing, but you look at that whole thing and you're like, that was a shit show. And what you really realize is like money and power is involved everywhere. And there's a distrust with news channels. There's a distrust with our government. There's a big distrust in our medical industry, and especially big pharma. All these different things. And it's just like, where do you, and so there's a bit of a loss of innocence and people kind of just wanting to seek the truth and explore more about that. Right. It's just like, I can't trust in anybody but me.
Yeah. See, I think you're really nailing something in, what we've kind of coined or talked about in a solutions-based coaching business is trust. There's all this distrust. So this trust has to be really built up. And, it's the person who says, everything works, or I've tried everything or whatever. Why are you different? And in that, it's that trusting, but it's in the trusting of like, you're actually going to listen to me, right? Because one of the things that makes you so mad about the people in power doing all of that is they're basically saying, you're too stupid to make your own decisions. So we're just going to for you. And that's one of the things that I think that we really teach at PT Legends too, is to look at the client and not to say like, oh, all you need is class. All you need is macros. All you need is whatever, here, have this thing. But it's like, no, like, let's sit down, have an honest conversation of where you are right now, and what's the one thing you can do right now to start. Maybe it's one thing. Maybe it's, we can get them into the gym, 3 times a week, with cutting out snacking or something like that. But it's harder to do those things than we think. It takes a lot of conversation. It goes back to the very beginning of this when we're like, if you would just do this, you could lose 30 pounds. Please do this, and it goes into, okay, you're not doing it. So now let's find where the loss of integrity is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sit down with people and do that. I can sit down with people and do that. Dave can sit down with people and do that. And now we've got all these gym owners that we've taught how to sit down and reestablish integrity, to reestablish solutions, right, without failure. In fact, it might even be better that they do fail, because then we can fail faster and get them back to their results versus being like, well, you screwed up, I guess we're done.
Right.
Yeah, might as well not show up anymore. And I know coaches aren't saying that, but clients feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I fell off. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Maybe there's shame, maybe there's guilt there, and then they don't want to show up. But we can even teach that. Hey, how do you overcome shame and guilt? How about just standing beside somebody and saying, it's okay, we got this. Let's sit down and talk about how we can reestablish integrity and get you moving again.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, the cool thing about what we're teaching, on the high ticket thing, and it's more like a mentorship, is somebody take them by the hand and help these people.
Yeah.
They desperately need this help. You don't learn it in schools. You don't learn it anywhere, right? Yeah. It's nothing. And, it's something that's so needed. And I think that's why it resonates so well and just took off. And I think we all desire to do that. We all desire to make a change in our clients' lives. But it's really hard to learn how to do it. And the backbone of what we do is about the fulfillment and the caring, right? And making those and helping people make these changes and become the best version of themselves. The cool bonus on this whole thing is that it's massively financially rewarding.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this for 300 people, right? No. You could have 20 high ticket clients and you are freaking crushing it. For most gym owners listening, you will probably triple your profits.
Yes.
If you have 20 people doing this program, probably triple, maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're the gym owner listening and you're like, I don't know how to do that. Well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that was
here to teach you how to do it.
And that was kind of like the big thing we wanted to reveal on this one. So Josh Price.
Oh,
yeah. He's been a mentor for many years, helped design stuff. And, he took a break from it for a while. And we had wanted to kind of do this earlier, but you're right. All the issues came up that you had with your daughter. And so we kind of had to sideline it, but you have the time now. You had multiple offers on the table. But you came to PT Legends for, quite a few reasons. And the cool thing is I know a big influence in that is that you knew a lot of our clients.
Yes.
And especially when we started 2 years ago, when we just took on our first handful of people because they wanted some help. And we were in Vegas together at that one mastermind. And if you remember, like when we got that text, Shannon Logan sold her first one.
Yes.
Dave and I were like jumping up and down, so happy for her. She was like client number 4 or 5, probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have seen the evolution, and you know a lot of these gym owners that have just shot up with revenue, profit, but more importantly, like their work-life balance.
Yeah, work-life balance, and I would say, and like actually doing what they came into this business to do. And I get that. And that's part, like anybody out there who's listening and everything, it's okay to be like, hey, I thought that the gym that I have was going to fulfill that need. And then I figured out that it doesn't, perhaps. That happened to me too. When I started my gym, I almost wanted to go back and kick myself. It was like uber competitive, and we scared people away, and we had a lot of issues. And I was one of the people that straight up said, if you're not going to listen to me, get out. Like I ran it with my competitive football, army mentality. And, but I learned that that's not the best way, and that learning how to actually coach, not be a dictator, but be a coach. And I'm not saying everybody out there is that, but I was. You are probably going to find from PT Legends and the systems that we teach what you are always wanting to do, what you always thought owning a gym would actually be like. And I look at, Shannon, who you just mentioned, who, at our 90-day thing was just like, yeah, I'm living the life that I always thought I could. Like, it's happened, and so many other people on that call were like, yeah, I've got, 10 clients that are my personal clients that I absolutely love, and we're digging deep with them. And then the rest of the gym is thriving too, because the other coaches are taking on these clients. So profits are going. I'm getting to every day be excited about the calls. I only really started about 2 weeks ago, and already like I'm excited for the calls that I'm having with the owners. I'm like, it's so exciting because we're going to get on, and like, because they've already learned this system and everything and they've implemented it, they are so much faster to implement everything that I'm saying, because they're like, it works. There's congruency throughout, they're not the fat client anymore.
Yeah. It helps when you get some amazing quick results too.
Yeah.
When you in your first month, you bring an extra 5, 10, 15, even $50,000.
Yeah.
With our methods, you're like, oh my God. I can see how like my years of struggle or pain are just being stuck. I see that this is the way out, and it's exciting then. So that the quick wins are important to get momentum.
Yes.
They really are.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just like seeing that you can do it, seeing that, okay, I got those quick wins, and there's a lot of adrenaline, I'll say, right? In that quick start, you're like, I'm going to do this because, I just paid for this course. I'm going to use it. Dave is teaching me all of these techniques. I'm going to do it. And then I don't know why, but it seems like not everybody, but you'll have people that'll go like, oh, is this for real? Is this for real? Will this really continue to work? Even though I just had proof. And what I love about that is like, you just get them to keep like, what will usually happen is they stop doing like one thing, and it's probably follow-up generally, right? They stop doing follow-up for whatever reason. And then you're like, okay, we're just going to get back to follow-up. So I had a call with one of our people. I won't mention names because I don't want to call him out on here. And he had quit doing follow-up. And we worked through the process. Hey, why aren't you doing this? And basically what it boiled down to is he felt that he might be, what was the word he used? Like inconveniencing somebody. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, well, tell me about that. And he's like, well, maybe they don't have time for a phone call. And I was like, well, did they tell you to call them? And he was like, well, yeah. And I was like, so they're expecting it? And he's like, well, yeah. So if you don't call them, then you're actually being rude. And he's like, yeah, can we go ahead and hang up? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. We hang up.
This is why I love you, Josh. Like, you are so much better at that than I am. Right? That's why you're such an asset on this team, because you get the whole coaching thing. So you're better at it than so many people. Yeah. And on different, not just the end user client, but like to the gym owners, you help frame it. You help them discover it, which I'm not good at. I'm like, I'll just tell you, well, that's stupid. Like, you got insane results for 2 weeks or two months, right? And then of course you get that feeling of relaxation and stuff. Yeah. Like, so you take your foot at the pedal. Like, you just need to keep, it's like you said, business is really simple. You just got to do ABC, and then you repeat. You just keep doing ABC.
Yeah.
But just like a client who wants to lose 50 pounds, they get 20 pounds in, they're losing weight at a great clip, 2 pounds a week. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm not even halfway to my goal. I'm so frustrated. And they want to stop.
Yep.
What the F are you doing?
Yep.
That would be my approach. Your approach that you just outlined there, so much fucking better. So I can't wait to pick up on this stuff working with you.
Yeah. So he texted me back and he was like, two PCs, perfect consultations booked for next week. And I was like, there you go. There you go. That's
unbelievable.
Yeah. That's all it takes. And
this is it. This is why coaching or mentorship is so freaking important. This is why you need to do it for your clients who truly desire a change. This is why you need one for you as a business owner, because sometimes you need somebody to just do that for you, and it can change your entire life. And you're always going to need that because you have no perspective in your own life. It's a skewed perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So your own business.
The way that I think about this, again, comes from my daughter. And what I realized with her is, despite her Lee's disease and everything else that's going on with her, if I had an infinite amount of time, if I had all the time in the world, forever, infinity, she would be healed, right? At some point, our scientists, everybody are going to figure these things out. They're going to figure out how to fix DNA. They're going to have to figure out all of this stuff. So if I had infinity, she would be healed. So in anything, absolutely anything that you put your mind to, any goal that you have, the only thing really playing against you is time and action. That's it, time and action. So this is why you hire a mentor. And it just clicked so much harder in my head because of her. Like, we are doing so much, seeing so many specialists, so many doctors, everything, because we're just choosing action every single time. Will this help us get to our goal? Our goal is for her to be healed. So we're going to choose action, choose life, choose life, choose life. It's the same in your gym. You have a goal. You have something you want. It's there. So you have to choose action. Okay, now there's tons of action. We have to bend time. We literally have to bend time. So who's going to do that for you? The mentor, the person who's already been there, the person who can reframe your thoughts, the person that can take you from that forest of frustration that we talked, can start cutting away all the crap and leaving you on that mountainside of clarity. That's what you need. And sometimes that's going to be me. Sometimes it's Scott. Sometimes it's Dave. But we all have mentors too. I have a mentor call with my mentor at 4:00 today. Mm-hmm. You're a part of 2 or 3 groups.
Yep.
Because we need this.
Hey, just a quick reminder to everybody, if you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 more this month, every month, by making more money with less clients with transformational programs, and create a consistent flow of high-quality leads, you can learn more about what it's like to work with me and my team at PT Legends and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. It is such a no-brainer that it more than pays for itself when we teach you how to enroll just two case study clients. Really, that's it. So go to CoachScottCarpenter.com and learn more about it. Yeah, all of my success that I've had so far, a large degree, huge degree of that is because I'm a product of mentorship, and I always will. And as I move into higher and higher and higher ones, the people running those, guess what? They all got to the position they're in because they've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I've realized, and you start reading books and you start meeting the authors, right? So I've met a lot of the authors with a lot of these books and have been in their masterminds or whatever it is. And you realize, oh, that person knows that person. That person worked with that person. That's how they grew those companies. It's all interconnected. This is how you time collapse things.
Yes.
This is how you time collapse it. Is you need to work with these people who have already figured out these things. It'll get you there infinitely faster. And they literally will pay, every single one of them, as long as you're in a good one, they will literally pay for themselves multiple times over.
Yeah.
And so once you realize the math of that, your return, you're like, oh, I just need to keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. So a little story about that. I was talking to a friend, and he wants to get into coaching, into more therapy type coaching and everything. And so I have a certification in neuro-linguistic programming. So he's asking me about it, and I was like, "Oh, it's $6,000, to get certified." he's like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. Like, I just want to get out there and help people. And I immediately was like, you know, I was like, it's not that expensive. How much did it cost you to go to college? You know, and he was like, oh, I don't know, 100 grand. And it was like, I was like, anybody could spend the 6K, get an NLP certification, and start a business with that 6K. But I was like, even better, somebody could get, you know, a personal training. Let's stick in this vein, a personal training, come to us. So what does a personal training one cost? Probably 3-4 grand.
No, of like a weekend certification. If you do like a course, yes, like a guided thing. But if you just do get the certification, it's probably like $700.
$700. Okay, so staying in the PT vein, so $700, and then you came to us. You could have a, you know, what a $300,000, $400,000 business probably in like a year or 18 months.
Yep.
So that would cost you total like maybe $20,000, like to have a 300, 400,000 that's going past that. Like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Why are you going to college? Why are you going to college? If you could do that, you just need to go ask. And literally, I know a guy who went to his parents. His name is Christian. I can't remember his last name. And he's like, can I have just a portion of my college fund to go do this? And he started his own business, CrossFit business that he did. And that 24, 25, he then went to college and paid for it himself. You know, and I'm like, people, ask your parents, ask whoever. $20,000 compared to what you're going to pay in student loans and everything else is silly. Come talk to us. We'll get you there way faster. You want to bend time into a 6-figure business, into a 7-figure business? Come talk to us. We're going to get you there way faster.
Way faster. So you're going to be less than that. It's awesome. You just have to do it. You know, you have to do it. And I'm in, I think just 2 right now myself. I can sometimes 2, you know, and they're each $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
So you look at it, and you're like, oh, holy shit. I don't know, what is that? 60 grand a year?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm probably paying for like Harvard, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This year. But this is how you learn the big stuff from the big fish, guys. You know, and there's always a bigger fish. So there's always a bigger pool to get into as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess some of that is my my rant about, come on, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're going to get on the phone, you know, probably with me, maybe Scott, and we're going to help you. We're going to help you flat out. We're going to help you. We're going to answer all your questions. We're going to teach you everything you need to know to make a decision. And ultimately, we're going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of you are in a position where like it isn't a good fit too, right? And that's okay. In that case, we'll point you in what would be the better fit. But yeah, I'm a product of mentorship. Josh is a product of mentorship. The most successful people I know, multi-millionaires, right? Just saw one at Lifetime Fitness today. Saw him in the cafe. It's a huge business. Now with all his investments, he's making more money than his primary business. Awesome, dude. Same thing. It's the same thing. He not only was able to launch his business because of the mentorship, he continued to move up and just skyrocketed it in the fitness space, right? Fitness marketing space. And this is how successful people do it.
Yes. Yeah. They just find the person that's already done it. I mean, for me, it was it's called I'm Not Your Guru, I think it was. Tony Robbins
documentary.
Yeah. And I watched that. Me and Kelly watched it one day, 2018, maybe 2017. I can't even remember. And just that one line when he's like, success leaves clues, find somebody who's already done it, you know, and ask them to teach you, you know. And from that day on, like, my world changed. You talk about collapsing time. Like, I went from, you know, a poor kid who grew up in a trailer park with no money, no prospects, wasn't going anywhere. Joined the Army. Not like that's a bad thing, but it was my only way out that I could see was joining the Army. Taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about leadership, how, fighting, or fighting more in the sense of like goal setting, even though I was in the infantry. So yeah, it taught me how to fight too. But more in the sense of like, how do you accomplish a mission? That's what I'm trying to say. It taught me all that stuff, but it was a fight. It was just gripping and clawing my way through every single thing. And there were people on the way that helped me. Don't get me wrong. But when I figured out and stopped and heard Tony say that success leaves clues, go find those people, all of a sudden it was that clarity. It was like, all of this advice doesn't work because those people have never done this before. But this person has done this, so listen to them, hire them.
And that's my problem with some of the groups that are out there that I have been in and got out. It's, you want to find the people who've done it, right?
Yeah.
The ones where you have to be a little bit wary and really do your research are the ones with coaching businesses, but they never did what they're telling you to do.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have a gym that was actually a functioning business where they're a shareholder and this thing is making them a profit. Because they're like, oh, well, there's much more I can, I know this party trick. I'm going to go coach and teach that because there's way more money and it's easier. And they get rid of their business or they just let it kind of stay there or they sell it or whatever it is because it's not really a functioning business anyways.
Right. Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you've found somebody that has truly done it because that's where you just have to be a little bit wary on the internet nowadays. Because
yeah, absolutely. And
dude, I'm super skeptical. I've done a lot of mentorship, spent a lot of money, but I'm also massively skeptical about shit I see too.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, another reason why you and Dave, the founders of this thing, like you guys have done it.
Yeah.
You guys have done it. It made it very easy to be like, yeah, I'll go work for those guys. I've seen the profit. I've been with them. I've experienced, their gyms and them, like, okay, this is, this makes it a lot easier than, somebody else like, asking who has not had the success.
Yeah. And you've seen, even by then, you've seen all the clients that we worked with.
Yeah.
They've done, which has been amazing. And you were going to implement this in your gym. But
yes.
Just a little bit of side notice is he moved. So he's not in the same state. And we talked about it. And if you remember, you really wanted to do it, but you had this situation with the lease where you had to get out.
Yeah.
And then just based on, the couple people that you had still to take that over, it was a bit of a risk. Right. We've talked about that. So, I know you want to do it, but I'm like, my gut tells me like, don't take the risk.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically we were coming to the end of our lease and my GM and my head coach had told me that they were going to leave within the next quarter. So it was me trying to figure out how to get another GM, another head coach installed, get them trained and put all of this on. And we had 30 days to figure out the lease situation.
Yeah.
And all of that came to a head. I called Scott and he was like, just shut it down. He's like, you're at a place where, it's going to be too hard, like, especially with my daughter.
Especially with your daughter. And you lived out of state too. So it's not like this place is 5 miles down the road.
Well, yeah. So that's one of the things we had talked about is like how long would it take? Well, if I moved back and did it for 4 months, we could install all this, but I'd have to be there every single day. Well, Brighton's 24/7 care. So that just ruled that out immediately. So it sucked. We were still profitable. I lived in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast, like right on the water for 3 years while running the gym in Virginia. We were so profitable. It was nice. But ultimately, it wasn't meant to be. But we were talking just yesterday and I was like, I might need to start a gym in my garage. It's built out and I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a PT Legends gym if I actually do that. So,
yep.
I'll only have probably like 6 a.m. It'll be, 6 a.m., 6:15, running concurrent PT and I'll be done for the day.
Yep. Run like, 2 things and, pocket a good, easily 6 figures on it from a little bit of work.
I know. It would be like, I can't imagine. This blows my mind. Running CrossFit gyms, thinking that I could run for an hour to 2 hours a day and probably make 10 grand a month off of that just blows my mind. But there are people, like, I shouldn't say there are people in this group doing that because they're running, full businesses. But if they were to chunk down to 2 hours of their time, they're making 10 grand in those 2 hours, like, for the month. Like, it's absolutely insane what you can do.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And that's why we're on a mission. I mean, some of these gym owners are they're working a lot of hours and not taking home. They just don't have the freedom, the money, you want to make more, especially those that are struggling. You have to make more. Yeah. Yeah. The business model, like, they don't have it set up where they can be a shareholder in it.
Right.
And even if you want to work in it, that's fine, but you need to run it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what happens if you get a crippling injury or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You need to run it so it has the ability to operate without you.
Yeah.
Choose to want to do that, which I do, right? But not everybody does, and that's okay. But you need to build it that way anyways.
Yeah, there's a ton of people that I've mentored over the years that really got it into their heads or whatever that, like, success was them not being in their businesses, and then they hated their businesses. And I was like, no, where did you ever come up with this idea that you didn't need to operate in your business? Like, you got into this for a reason, and it's okay if reasons change and you don't want to, but you love doing this. So, like I said earlier, let's find the 10 clients that you love and you support them. And then you can still have time outside of 10 clients to support your trainers, to help them to run a business, and you'll enjoy life. Like, my favorite time in my gym was we added on a powerlifting wing to my gym, and I took care of the power lifters and all of that. And my head coach and GM ran the CrossFit side of stuff. It was so much fun. So much fun. And I'm like,
we can do things that you want to do and handing off all the stuff that you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I've got a hard stop now and got to get to my thing, but Josh, awesome having you on. I'm so glad that you're on the team. The Orange Beard of Wisdom. This is why, he's our lead mentor, and it's so freaking exciting to have you on the team. And it's awesome, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for standing beside me the whole time we were in the hospital and all that. It's just meant so much to me.
Not a problem. Life just delivers those punches sometimes, man. So we've been there. We've all been there in some way, shape, or form. But awesome. You guys are going to get to know Josh a lot better. Make sure you're plugging into our group, Gym Owner Freedom. You're going to see him active in there. He's going to be on future podcasts. Clients, obviously, you're going to get to meet him. And hey, if he spoke to you in some way, shape, or form, or like I said, if you want to see if this could be a good fit for you in your gym, we can hop on a call. Like, you heard me just say we turned Josh away because I'm like, listen, I think just right. Like, we will give it to you straight if we're not going to be the best fit for you. You turned somebody away today that you talked to. The reality is like, you have to be in the right space and time and your business model. And if it's not a good fit, we're not the guys who bullshit you, man. We really want to see you win and succeed no matter what.
And I love talking to people, so call me.
Absolutely. We're going to we'll probably leave a booking link to hop on a call with you, Josh.
Perfect.
And if you're just driving around or whatever, Josh Price at ptlegends.com. You can always shoot him an email there. He'd be happy to answer any questions. And if you want to hop on the phone with him for 5 or 10 minutes, he'd be happy to do that too.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching the show. Leave a review if this spoke to you. Make sure to share it, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 a month or more this month by making more money with less clients and create a consistent flow of high-quality leads, you can learn about what it's like to work with me and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. And if you got any value out of this episode, please pay it forward and leave a review for this show. It helps other gym owners find the answers to the huge problems that we all share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.